Welcome to Dateline Tamil Nadu. This is ETV Sivapriyan, and today we are going to talk to a very special guest. He is Mr. R. Kannan, a former UN diplomat and an accomplished writer. He has biographed two legends of the Dravidian movement, C.N. Annadurai and M.G. Ramachandran, who are also the founders of the DMK and the AIADMK respectively. Mr. Kannan has also chronicled the entire history of the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam, which is also known as the DMK, one of the oldest surviving and most thriving regional political parties in India. So let's talk to him about the Tamil Nadu 2026 Assembly elections and also about the X factor, which is actor Vijay. So welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Siva. Pleasure seeing you.
Sir, how different is 2026 elections from the previous elections? Because this is going to be a four-cornered contest this time with the DMK, AIADMK, actor Vijay's Tamilaga Vetti Kazhagam, and also the Tamil Nationalist Party led by Mr. Seeman, which is the Nam Tamilar Katchi. So what is the difference in this election that you see? And also, probably for the first time that the DMK in many decades is looking very comfortable, that they already have a lot of hope that they're coming back to power for a second consecutive term. Where does this confidence come for the DMK? Is it just because Vijay is going to split a lot of votes, or because of the welfare measures that the DMK has done in the past 5 years, or what is it?
I think it's a combination of both. The welfare schemes that this government has put forward, especially centering on women's welfare. The monthly dole, the free bus ride, etc., etc. And there are other schemes like the breakfast scheme for children. These have, I think, given the DMK some traction on the ground. Your question as to why are they so comfortable? The other reason is because the opposition votes are hopelessly divided. You have a new entrant whose influence or whose sway needs to be tested, and we will know this on the 4th of May. But going by the crowds that he's able to garner, undoubtedly he's the biggest crowd puller in Tamil Nadu today. And the majority of these people who show up for his rallies happen to be people who are rather young. So they are a very spirited lot.
And also these crowds are very spontaneous.
Absolutely.
They're not paid, they're not brought to the venue.
I keep repeating this. There are only two people who bring crowds organically to their rallies. One is Seeman, a former director, and then the other is actor Vijay. Everyone else will have to seek the help of rent-a-crowd.
Yes.
So therefore we are assuming that Vijay is going to make a major dent into the opposition votes, essentially. But he's going to take away votes from everyone, including the ruling DMK. But and then you're going back to your original question, is it more of the same, or is it a very transformative election? I think it's some of both. The DMK has been this comfortable in 1989 as well. As you rightly said, in a number of decades, they've again become very comfortable.
That was also a four-cornered contest.
Absolutely. But I wouldn't consider this as a four-cornered contest. I'll tell you why. This is essentially a trilateral contest because my feeling is, and none of this is scientifically based, or I'm going by perception, by the optics, and then by anecdotal evidence. I have a feeling Seeman is the last of the four players.
Yeah.
And his vote strength will be tested this time, I think. Some of his young voters may gravitate towards actor Vijay. So therefore, I would consider this as essentially a trilateral contest. And if the Tamil nationalism that Seeman talks about, aims at 75% of the Tamil populace, Tamil Nadu's populace, assuming that 75% of these are organic Tamil speakers who haven't migrated from elsewhere. For centuries, they've been speaking in Tamil, okay? The ability for him to penetrate into this vote bank has been limited.
True.
He's able to appeal to a cross-section of die-hard Tamil nationalists who believe that the Tamil lands should be ruled by
Tamils.
organically Tamil-speaking people. Okay, there have been others who have been here for 500, 700, 800 years who have taken to Tamil.
Yeah.
Most of them, for them, they know the language.
Yes.
They speak a broken mother tongue in their homes, in their living rooms, and in perhaps their bedrooms. But still, they are essentially, for all practical purposes, Tamils. So this constituency will never be reachable for Seeman. Of the 75%, the Tamil nationalism that the Dravidian parties had peddled has been so popular and all-encompassing that you need to be a die-hard Tamil nationalist to move towards Seeman. So therefore, I consider this as a trilateral contest.
So like when we talk about this being a trilateral contest, the DMK versus the AIADMK versus TVK. So like what is the difference that Vijay makes in this election and what does he bring to the table? So why do you think a lot of youngsters are moving towards him? Is it just because of the apathy towards the traditional political parties, or are people a little tired of the Dravidian parties because they have voted them for about 60 years now? Since 1967, the DMK and the ADMK have been alternatively ruling the state. So do you think there is a fatigue among the people for the Dravidian political parties, DMK and the AIADMK?
There is some of that. And essentially, Tamil politics, if you've looked into it from post-independence, has been filled by very charismatic personalities, either popularly very charismatic or even intellectually people who were colossuses like Rajaji. And if you look at all the chief ministers from then, except for a handful, most of these are towering figures, colossuses. So there's this element of charisma and appeal, essentially from films. Either you're a playwright or a scriptwriter or an actor, which we saw in the case of MGR, the late MGR, which we saw in the case of the late Jayalalithaa, although I wouldn't say that most of her support was because she was a film actress. No, she consolidated herself and then she rose with her own skills and hard work and so on.
She also inherited a very strong party.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. Okay, so there was an infrastructure that she just rode on and then tried to consolidate it and then even improve it, because some of the victories that the AIADMK obtained under her leadership were record-setting. Like in 2014 when she won 37 and then probably 44% of the votes.
44%.
And so this is close to what the DMK achieved when it was a united DMK in 1971, 48.5% or something.
And also like MGR could never break into the Chennai bastion.
Absolutely, and she turned this place upside down. So she was a remarkable woman. So some of it is because she was an actor. So there is this charm of people who are larger than life. And in the perception of the ordinary man. And Vijay, although he looks diminutive, etc., probably fits that bill. He looks like the next door neighbor. He looks like a very, gentle, a man who can, whom they feel at ease with. He's not this shining, like MGR, endowed with a golden figurine, if you may. So I think that is also, and then he's been in moviedom for the tinsel world for 30-35 years.
And also, sir, don't you think that he is also reaching out to the crowd, striking a card with the crowd by calling him the Annan? So he says that I am your brother. So like I will be your brother, I will be your son. So don't you think that is also striking a chord with the people?
Precisely. That is what I meant when I said that these people consider him as one of their own. So they're able to relate to him. So his messages seem to resonate. And besides, since the AIADMK in the opposition was put out a very lackluster performance, here is a man who is challenging the establishment, if you may, like in the movies, where the villain seems to be the establishment and he is all powerful. Everybody else who had tried to challenge him in the past had fallen by the wayside. And then here comes the hero, the protagonist, who is a meek doesn't have a great deal of resources,
Yeah.
and then is very new to this game, and yet could mount such a profound challenge. In fact, the challenge that Vijay had mounted, even though he had shied away from every election since his party was founded, is so much so that the Congress could bargain for
More seats.
more seats, that both the Congress as well as the DMK have chosen one of their candidates at least as a Christian, belonging to the Christian
And also
faith.
the Congress has nominated now a Dalit Christian also.
Absolutely. So these perceptions, and look at how even the other parties have positioned themselves. So I think Vijay had already made a profound difference. Now, how would it really reflect on the day of the vote is something that I'm unable to say for sure at the moment.
So, like, is it okay to say that Vijay has already disrupted the political landscape in Tamil Nadu?
Absolutely.
Because the DMK, the 73-year-old chief minister, is actually vibing with a lot of youngsters. So there is this show called Vibe with MKs. This has never happened in Tamil Nadu. So, like, every political party is being forced, or it's being prompted to go to the youth, go to other people, go to the women, and the DMK is now making women as the centerpiece of the elections. So, like, how do you feel that Vijay has disrupted the political landscape?
Firstly, it has really, he has challenged the complacency of the ruling administration. Secondly, he has woken this AIADMK up from its deep slumber during the opposition. Thirdly, as you rightly said, the chief minister wants to, he's in his early 70s. He wants to vibe with the younger lot because of the 5.67 crore voters. 1.18 crores below 30.
Below 30.
A large majority of those are expected to vote for Vijay. There are probably women as well.
Yes.
There is this perception that the section of the Dalits will move towards him. All these are perceptions. I mean, neither of us has seen a survey, a poll, etc. But his camp seems to be
most of these polls are also one-sided.
Correct.
Like, they give Vijay 25%, 30%, and these are all internal surveys.
Absolutely.
We don't know what's the sample size and what's the credibility of the organization that has done it.
True. What actor Vijayakanth could do after the 2006 elections, after he contested a general election, a year after of the founding of his DMDK, Vijay has been able to do even without a contest. So he's a bigger disruptor than Vijayakanth. But Vijayakanth, from 2005, when he founded the party, up to 2011, in about 6 years' time, he rose as the kingmaker.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't know if that will happen with Vijay. We will have to wait until the polls are over. However, I think he is essentially, if he is willing to stay the course, fill the plug in the gaps. A good organizational base. And people say that he's not very accessible. And he should be more confidently engaging with the press and the media. He's never called for a press meet so far. He shied away from talking at length about any serious issue. So if he were to, and the second tier leaders are woefully absent. So if he were to empower empower second tier leadership, if he were to build the party with an organizational base beyond what he currently has, and if he's willing to stay the course for 5 years, I think 2031 would be an interesting contest.
Interesting. So, like, let me go back to Vijay again. So, like, after the Karur stampede, so everyone would expect Vijay's graph would come down, but largely it went up. Though it is coming down now according to pollsters and all. But, like, even after that stampede, a lot of people, the families, never blamed Vijay. They blamed the government, they blamed others. So is it part of the cult mentality? Is it good in a society? Or, like, Vijay should have been made accountable by the people who lost? It's not about one Vijay or anything, but it's about as a society.
No, of course it's not good. Of course, this goes back to our earlier discussion that we seem to glorify our leaders and our heroes, and then we always depend on an iconic figure to lower our burden or to put our expectations on their shoulders that they will carry. I mean, the cross should be carried by them. I was very disappointed. I was watching this whole thing unfold on television that evening, and I thought that it was a great opportunity for him to really rise up to the challenge and show his leadership
skills.
Leadership skills, where he should have insisted on seeing these victims and their families with police support. That way, he would have greatly embarrassed this government, and the entire Indian media would have been focused on him. In fact, I would have suggested that he carry out a fast until he's from Trichy or from Madras, where he feels safe, secure, away from the scene of the accident. And take it forward. I thought he missed out a golden opportunity. For 3 days, he kept mum.
Yeah.
And this came out as his empathy was firstly belated. Secondly, it didn't look really that organic. So you and I would have thought that this would have really dented his image.
Yeah.
But nothing dents because nothing dents because people are generally willing to forgive their leaders to a large extent.
Leaders are stars.
Absolutely.
So
they're blemishless.
MGR is someone till today who could never do any bad thing.
True.
For a large part of the people.
True.
There are also a section of the people who still believe that MGR is alive. And when they go to his samadhi, his resting place, we can see people going and actually laying there, keep their ears somewhere like this and say that...
Hear his heartbeat.
Yeah, or his clock ticking. So like, how do you actually see this?
Tamil Nadu happens to be the most urbanized state in India. And our literacy rates are probably more than 80% because we don't have statistical figures after 2011. Yet, you can see the two different Tamil Nadus and the two different Indias and wherever you go. And despite, if this is the case of Tamil Nadu, you can imagine what is the case in elsewhere in the not so developed states. I think people are, as I said, people look for a father figure, an elder brother figure. They look for people where they can simply, it's like a man who's run out of all options, then leaving it all to the Almighty if he's a believer. So, or to providence or nature if he's not that sort of a believer or agnostic. So I think people in this place where job opportunities happen to be few, where you need to go out of the state to, if you really want to get a very good job, there are probably about 1 million graduates who come out from the different engineering and other colleges. And I don't think we are able to provide jobs for all these people. So their families, essentially very simple, modest, middle-income group families, look upon, they always need a sort of an iconic figure to look upon. And I think that is what it is.
Extension of the screen image to the real life image.
This hasn't happened with everybody. Only a few are able to do this at that scale. So MGR happens to be an exception. And the second, I think, was Vijayakanth to a large extent. I have a feeling Vijay is already, Vijay will start at where Vijayakanth finished.
Okay.
And as I said earlier, if he's willing to stay the course and unplug the gaps, he has a great future. But that remains to be seen, whether he's in this for the long fight, or is he in this for just now?
Yeah. So like when any actor gets into politics, not only in Tamil Nadu, but even in Andhra Pradesh, they get, because these two states have primarily elected a chief minister, or like from movie sets, they've directly gone to the secretariat or the chief minister's office and started signing the government papers. So like any actor gets immediately compared with M.G. Ramachandran, immediately gets compared with N.T. Ramarao. And there have also been actors like Chiranjeevi who dabbled in politics, got a good percentage, but he couldn't stay the course. And there is also a Pavan Kalyan model in Andhra Pradesh where you fight for 2 elections, you don't get the right support from people, and then you go and join another political party and become a deputy chief minister. So the question here is can Vijay be compared with MG Ramachandran first? And who will Vijay be like? MGR, NTR, Pavan Kalyan, or Siranjeevi?
This is a very difficult question for me to respond. He could have easily been Pavan Kalyan if he had thrown his lot with the AIADMK. It would have been a formidable winning combination and could have posed a very tough challenge to the ruling DMK. So he threw away that opportunity, because that way, for 5 years, he would have learnt government, the art of governance, and he could have helped some of his colleagues to have become cabinet members, etc. And 5 years in government is a good enough time to understand how the levers of power work, and how much you can really serve the community or the common man, which would have sort of, brought down some of his expectations, because some of the announcements that he has made, the promises that he has made, they are all very fantastic announcements, but I don't know how they could be financed. So they seem to be off the mark. So he missed that opportunity. Now, is he MGR? I think MGR was a very, very unparalleled individual.
You always say in one of my stories for Deccan Herald itself, you said that MGR defies all logic.
Absolutely. So, because he was made of Teflon, all the allegations that were thrown at him, and some of them were, I'm sure they were real, nothing stuck. And so MGR was very different. And
you couldn't let anyone come to power, especially his friend Karunanidhi had to wait for MG Ramachandran to actually die to get to power in 89.
Correct. And every time as his graph fell, nature intervened. It gave him a break by when he fell ill. There was a surge of sympathy for him. So he was rehabilitated. And if he had lived, maybe he would have not enjoyed this luxury. And like NTR, he may have also seen a debacle in his lifetime.
So MGR was a miracle.
MGR was a miracle. So we shouldn't be comparing him. And the times have changed. Today is social media and that sort of thing. You don't have to put yourself out there in public physically. You can reach all the living rooms and even the bedrooms through other means. So it's a very, we're talking about nearly four and a half decade difference. So in these 50 years of electioneering and campaigning, media, the digital forums and others have taken major shape. This is an actor who's still, like MGR, the comparison is MGR continued to act until he became the chief minister. Now Vijay continues to act. So that keeps him in people's thoughts.
And also, like you rightly pointed out, you can reach the drawing rooms of people easily with the help of a mobile phone.
Correct.
And Vijay's popularity is also at an all-time high. If he posts a picture on Instagram, it goes viral like anything. But on the contrary, I believe that Vijay has not been even using this to leverage his support, because he is actually making cameo appearances even during the height of the election. So how do you see that?
No. His party and the organization appear to be very erratic. They appear to be in a bit of a disarray. I don't think there's cohesion. I don't think there's coordination. I don't think it's a well thought out campaign. It seems to be, it lives in a bubble. That's what I think.
Vijay is the only...
And they are in an ivory tower and they don't know the ground reality in many of these places. That's my feeling. And some of his advisors are probably more reliant on these self-commissioned polls than anything else. Now, the ground reality might be very different. However, having said all this, I'm sure that the non-committed voters, which probably are about a third or a fourth of the voter base, will probably look upon him as a bit of an alternative, because they are tired of the 6-decade Dravidian rule, because there is rampant corruption. You go to any government office, you have to go with some loaded with, you have to grease their palms. And then these officials have become more and more indifferent to the common man. So if you're not connected, if you don't have the money, it's become a norm. In addition to the fee that you pay for a permit, there is another fee that you need to, and in this, we are all inured to it. Yet, people are hoping. That is why in Tamil movies, when somebody challenges the status quo, when somebody poses against the superintendent of police, who's a corrupt, a vicious man, there's a thunderous applause in the movies, isn't it? So people have that yearning at one level. My own take is, if every time a party comes to power, there's a churning of the society. Hundreds of thousands of households will rise with that party. Okay. So that happened when the Congress was there. A new a new cross-section of society came to the fore when the DMK took power. The same happened when the AIADMK took power. So if Actor Vijay were to come to power, and then he doesn't have to be an adept in governance, because the civil service structure that we have, the bureaucracy, will see him through, will see anybody through. So but people align to him, and then the thousands and hundreds of thousands of families align to his vision of how the society should be, will be brought to the fore. And these people have not been touched by the revolution, the social revolution that the Dravidian parties spawned in Tamil Nadu.
Yeah. And also, like, Vijay hasn't come out with a concrete plan. He says that he will not be corrupt, he will not allow corruption, but he hasn't come with a concrete plan. But still, a lot of people seem to be talking about Vijay's anti-corruption plan. So, like, is it because, like, they are so disturbed with the corruption under the Dravidian rule of 60 years, or even if you take the Congress rule for that matter, for the last 75 years, like, is it just because of that, or they believe that Vijay has the potential to deliver a corrupt-free government?
I am not so sure that people really believe that a change would make things better. I really don't think so, because they've voted for change in the past, and then they've seen more of the same. So there's an initial rush in reforms, and afterwards people you saw that with Aam Aadmi. Okay. So people, I think, are aware of all this. Their expectations are pretty realistic, I think. People want to give a chance to, they want the pie to be eaten by somebody else. That is what it is, I think. And then there is as I said, there are people who are unattached to the earlier movements, who are attached to this new movement. So when you try to push away the communists, you have brought in their support base to you. Or so similarly, I think these are young people, a whole new generation who have grown, who have been raised in these families with a Dravidian bent of mind, or with traditionally Congress bent of mind. I think things are changing, and Vijay reflects the change on the ground.
And actually, when you go to his rallies, I've been to 3 of his rallies, so it's like a celebration.
Correct.
It's not like a rally, it's not like a conventional rally where people wait to hear to the leader. So it's songs playing, blaring out of the loudspeakers, people dancing. It's kind of a celebration.
I think we can also safely say that the idea of a major ideological battle or a thrust is not there anymore, because he has defined his battle or his mission in broad terms. He has considered the BJP his ideological foe, and he considers the DMK as his political foe. Okay, that is enough for this below 30 audience. They are not people who want a Marxist explanation of a class-driven, class-based society. They are not. They're not ready for any of this. They will. So I think this diluted version of his ideological stance is enough for that.
It's enough.
As for the programs, what is the party aimed at extra? I don't think over the last 50 years, if you look at party programs, most of it has been diluted, really. It is, and then what is it that you would oppose anymore when there is no competition between seriously capitalism or socialism or any of that. Even the DMK, which opposed the opening up of the economy and the nationalization of and privatization of nationalized enterprises, by the early 90s fell in line.
True.
So you can see that in action. You can see that unions are not allowed when it comes to MNCs or frowned upon. So to be left of center, to be socialist minded is one thing, but to run a government is another. So I think people understand all this.
So let me come to this question of AIADMK. Is the AIADMK really on the decline, or the ADMK will bounce back during the elections? So how do you see the AIADMK BJP NDA alliance?
We discussed this off the screen before. I think the core AIADMK supporters will mostly still plump for the AIADMK.
That is the two leaves who vote for the magical two leaves.
Correct. People who are still nostalgic about the AIADMK, people who have benefited, who have, by aligning themselves with this AIADMK motto, have moved up, their sons and children have found jobs, they've been educated, etc. Such people will, I think, they might be an element of nostalgia and even a sense of gratitude. So they will stick to this. And much depends upon, the DMK is an extremely organized electoral machine. It has a solid fighting machine. I don't see that happening with the AIADMK.
I think they are overhauling the machine every year, the DMK.
Absolutely. So they believe in this because you see the AIADMK and the DMK are founded on two different premises. For the AIADMK, if you look at the DMK chronicles everything. They had leaders who would chronicle everything, like Karunanidhi. They believed in writing. They believed in speaking. And then you come up with a person like MGR, who doesn't have to speak, who doesn't have to write, who doesn't have to chronicle.
Just to show up himself.
Okay. So this tradition of organizing yourself, oiling the wheels, etc., is woefully absent. If I try to get AIADMK manifestos over the years, and there is no one place where I can find them.
Right.
So that is how they are disorganized. So far, charisma and the anti-DMK vote, because the last 50 years after 1972, Tamil Nadu's politics has been either DMK-centric or DMK opposed. So exactly. MGR and Jayalalithaa actually, they sort of they were the anti-DMK poles around which everybody else who wanted the DMK off moved closer and rallied behind. So today, some of those voters will naturally gravitate towards the AIADMK. But generally, the undecided lot, the younger lot, some of the younger women may look upon Vijay as a more attractive alternative. But also, it depends upon the candidates.
Is it because Vijay vociferously attacks the DMK?
Yes.
Vijay is trying to take up the primary anti-DMK force.
Absolutely. Edappadi Palanisammy must be credited for several things. Firstly, to be able to run a government for four and a half years. Without the BJP support, for being able to consolidate the party under his leadership, for able to consolidate his leadership, to become the undisputed leader in the post-Jayalalithaa phase of such a major party, to push back Amit Shah. All this, you must give it to him. But his performance as the leader of the opposition was woefully inept, was woefully inadequate. So the real leader of the opposition then were 2-3 people. One was Governor Ravi. The other was BJP's Annadurai. Then there was another YouTuber. I don't want to mention it. So these are the people who carried the burden of opposing the DMK administration. And Edappadi, God knows where he was, what exactly he did. So it was a lackluster performance. Some of that will come to punish him, will come to bite him this time. But they can still, I think, pose a stiff challenge in their traditional strongholds. Now with 3TV Dinakaran having come back to their fold, those 20 places where they lost because of the AMMK, they might be rehabilitated. This contest is going to be a very keen contest. I originally thought that Vijay's presence will hugely benefit the DMK. As we draw closer to the polling day, things could change. He's going to hurt everybody. At the moment, I think he's going to divvy the opposition votes. People might, in some places, see him as the more credible opposition to the ruling DMK. And in many of the places where the allies are competing, these two Dravidian parties might have a better chance of making it.
Is the ADMK's problem is also because that the party doesn't have a charismatic leader? Because it has always used to be led by a charismatic leader, M.G. Ramachandran and then Jayalalithaa. Is that the reason?
Okay, after the demise of Jayalalithaa and Karunanidhi, this place, has run out of has come out of this era of charisma in public places, in public office, in public life. That could change with Vijay. Okay, we'll have to wait to see. But as of now, yes, because Edappadi Palanichami is not that articulate, because he's not that swift in his responses, so he hasn't built up this image of being the alternative or an equal to this DMK Stalin. So that is, I think, because people have reconciled to the fact that this is a post-charisma era in public life. They've come to that. That perception is being challenged for the first time again from 2023 by Actor Vijay. But we will have to wait.
And also, like when we talk about MK Stalin and the DMK, so the women vote bank, women have always voted for the AIADMK for a very long time. But now the DMK is actually trying to break into that since the 2019 elections. So every scheme is now centered towards women. So how do you think that the DMK will break into that? Will Vijay be a spoiler there as well? And also about whether the DMK will lose a chunk of the minority votes to Vijay because Vijay is himself a born Christian.
On the minority votes, I think the Muslims will most likely continue to prefer the DMK. It is in their best interests as they see it. They've been very, very close to the DMK except on two occasions, one in 1977 and the other is in 1999. Other than that, they've always been with the DMK. They are very comfortable in each other's company and they see them as the custodians of their faith and their interests. The Christian minority, the votes might be seriously affected. I think a sizable section of the Christians might prefer Vijay because this is the first time they have somebody who's a Tamil Christian at this level and in this exposure and in this pedestal. So they might move towards Vijay. That's my feeling. And then you can see that already happening.
So the DMK's outreach of nominating a fisherman Christian and the Congress nominating a Dalit Christian to the Rajya Sabha, both at the same time.
Younger Christians, I think, will gravitate towards Vijay. But traditional households, Congress households of minorities will still favor some of these more established parties.
Won't churches also play a role in this?
They will play a role. We wouldn't know that until later. But my feeling is the churches are quite happy with the arrival of someone like Vijay. That's my feeling.
Before I end this interview, so let me just ask you two questions about, like, for a very long time, the AIADMK kept winning elections not because of its core vote bank, but also because a sizable section of the anti-DMK votes came en masse to the AIADMK because of its strident anti-DMK stand.
Correct.
With Vijay coming into the picture, will it erode? And if the DMK wins this election, will it be only because of the Vijay factor, or DMK would have gained the confidence of the people as well? How will you sum it up?
No, Vijay is going to play a very important role, and the DMK will be beholden to it to a large extent. That's my feeling as of today. But the DMK, despite I'm not so sure that they gave the best of the
Yeah,
governance.
true.
Okay, so there is much disillusionment
Yes.
on that front. But though that disillusionment, as it touched the common man, is he that upset?
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
can't say
true.
from here. But the welfare schemes have touched perhaps a majority of the households, lower income households. So there are
Especially the women.
women. So my feeling is, to respond to your question, yes, Vijay had posed a very serious anti-DMK rhetoric, and his narrative has been completely against the DMK, calling it even an evil force, etc. But he should have given him much more. He should have given himself a bit more time, in my reckoning. So this is just a couple of years before he wants to really rise to the top. That has happened only with NTR, and those circumstances are completely different. It was a bilateral fight. It was a feeling of Telugu self-respect. Here, the usual themes that have been, we have discussed these themes before. Other elections have seen these themes like corruption, like family role. They've all been thrashed out. They've been, passed very, very completely. So what is it that is at stake, except the fact that here is a newcomer who will be a refreshing change, because we have been used to a very established
players. And also, like, don't you think Vijay should come off the bus, start mingling with people more? Because that's what MGR did, that's what Jayalalithaa did, that's what even NTR did.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is why I'm telling you that if he decides to be in this for the long haul, he has to radically change his ways. There are people who have left him, who have been briefly with him, and who have come out and who have complained about lack of access. So, second-tier leadership, meeting with people, putting himself out more into the public space, and being able to confidently engage it can be very superficial. It can be, a man who has founded a party, and then the party is about 2 years old, and if you haven't even called for a single press conference, doesn't that say something about your leadership or your level of confidence? So he has to breach this.
Okay. Thank you so much for talking to us. And you almost touched every topic about from Vijay to the DMK to the AIADMK. Thank you again, sir. Thank you so much for talking to us.
My pleasure.